Hey YouTube, I'm back with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on Dragonic Vanquisher. For Dragonic Vanquisher, this deck, literally all I did to build this deck was get 8 extra booster boxes. Now I know that's pretty expensive, that's kind of an expensive way to go, but that allowed me to build essentially this deck, and almost all of this deck, just from the boxes themselves. I didn't have to buy single cards. I did have to buy a few. I had to buy like 3 Claret Swords, and the biggest problem was I got unlucky in my Brahmin pulls. I had to get like 3 or 2 Brahmins or something like that. So other than that though, literally Vanquisher and Revan came out of the boxes, and I got these as well. I got an SSR and a SVR. So today we're gonna be looking at the SVR deck. So this is the Dragonic Vanquisher deck. This is the one that at the time of release, these cards were the most expensive ones to procure, with the exception of Brahmin in Shadow Paladin. But now, and I was thinking, like, when I looked at the prices, I was like, well, okay, I think I made my money's worth, because this guy, at the time, if you wanted to buy single cards, this guy was going to be the hardest one to build, actually, in terms of, like, cost. So I essentially built him just out of the box. So we'll start off 3 or 4 Dragonic Vanquisher. He is surprisingly good. Now, I never had Gauntlet Buster Dragon and, yeah, the Eradicator stuff. I never had that stuff. I didn't really play Narukami. I had like a budget Thunderbreak Dragon deck and Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion. I don't know if I posted that on this channel, but that deck's completely, I took it apart. It's completely gone now. I replaced my Eradicator stuff with Vanquisher, because he's just like, out of the box, I just was able to build an amazing deck. So, yeah. Dragonic Vanquisher, he's really nice. He binds, he messes up the opponent's hand as well, and their field a lot, because that's what Narukami does. And it's binding and not retiring, so it's super annoying to them. Next we run 4 Jaggy Shot Dragoon. So this deck is pretty standard in terms of how its ratio is set up. You don't really run like any weird numbers of things. So you run the standard 8, 4 and 4. Jaggy Shot Dragoon is the best backup Vanguard for him, not Gauntlet Buster. Gauntlet Buster is meant for a different build. Like I say in all my videos, anytime a set comes out, most of the cards in that set are designed to work with the other cards in the set. So you can mix and match with older sets, obviously, but it's, from a game design point of view, these cards, Jaggy Shot and Dragonic Vanquisher, are meant to work together, especially because he has, in his effect, at the end of the battle that he attacked, if the Vanguard is Dragonic Vanquisher. So yeah. But I understand some people probably try to mix Vanquisher with Gauntlet Buster Dragon, and if you want to do that, that's fine, but that's not what I did. So for grade 2, we run 4 Voltage Horn Dragon. He was a classic GB1, you know, when boosted, Counterblast 1, hit that guy, so he's back in action with Dragonic Vanquisher, so that's nice to see. So basically, he Counterblast 1 when he attacks a Vanguard, choose a column, or choose one of your opponent's rear guards in that front row. So you choose a column, then you choose one of the opponent's rear guards. Then you bind it, and then if there's something in the back, you pull it up to the front in the same column. So I kind of think of him like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. He's like, get over here, and he like pulls the booster in the back like up to the front so they can get attacked or bound by something else. So he's pretty cool. And then during the turn, if the player's card was bound, this turn he gets 5k power on Vanguard or rear guard. So really nice card overall. Next we run 4 Chatura. So I completely missed out on this guy in G format. He was a common that I completely overlooked, and then when I tried to find him, like, he was sold out everywhere and no one would like trade him for some reason, or they never had him themselves. So really rare card for some reason back in G format as a common. But now he's back. He's an 8k body. That's the only bad thing about him, but they do that to, I guess, balance his skill, because his skill is pretty OP in this deck. When his attack hits, you can Soul Blast 1, draw a card, and then bind one of your opponent's front row rear guards. That's pretty crazy. That's like a +2 right there if it hits a Vanguard, so that's why he's got to be an 8k body. And then when bound from hand during your turn, you may call him to R, and if you called him, he gets +10k. So then the turn, so that makes him 18k on the turn that you activate like Vanquisher skill. So he's meant to work with Vanquisher for that reason, because Vanquisher binds stuff from your hand and your opponent's hand. Next, so here is something that I recently put this in. It wasn't in the original like day 1 build that I had. I was running a common that works kind of with Vanquisher, but I took it out. I put back in my Recklessness Dragon from my 1 trial deck. just because I wanted more early binding. If the opponent managed to, like, if they try to rush me or something, like if I'm up against, I don't know, Murakumo or Lascar Revan or something that like calls a bunch of stuff early, like golds and royals, I wanted a way to retaliate early without having to wait until Vanquisher comes out. So Recklessness Dragon is really good because he does that. When he's placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, counterblast 1, choose a Rearguard, and the opponent's front row and bind it. Straight up basic Narukami skill in standard. And then when he attacks, if your opponent's front row has 1 or less Rearguard, he swings as 12. So not too shabby, pretty good, grade 2. But you don't have to run him. He's not essential, but he's one of the best like trial deck cards I've seen to come out as standard decks. So for grade 1s, so that's a grade 2 lineup. So you can see it's 12 grade 2s. That's because we're an Accel clan, so we want to have a lot more attackers than boosters. So for grade 1s, we run 13. So we run 4, Mighty Bolt Dragoon. He is the grade 3 searcher for the clan that just came out. Really good with, you know, anything really. You could detect this guy into Gauntlet Buster, Thunderbreak Dragon, anything that binds, because his continuous skill is when, during your turn, if any player's card was bound, he gets 5k. So he swings 13 or boosts 13. And, you know, he's a grade 3 searcher. So there's nothing to hate about this card. It's just really good. Next, we run 4 Desert Gunner, Bhajan, or Bhajan. Anyway, this guy is just like Chatura, only he's the grade 1 equivalent. When he's bound from hand, you get to call him to R. And when he's placed on Rearguard Circle, if any player's card was bound this turn, you get to Soul Charge 1. So Soul Charging is surprisingly good in here. The reason why it is because when you ride into Vanquisher, if you do his skill, no, not him. Hold up. I mean, it does, but you already have the grade 3. If you have like Jaggy Shot Dragoon to bind him, if he soul charges you a grade 3, or let's say, what am I thinking here? There's a way to do, I forget what it was, but anyway, if you soul charge a grade 3 early, I think it's from this guy actually. I forget which one. Well, anyway, if you soul charge a grade 3 early, essentially, hold on, choose any. Oh, okay, that won't work. But I remember there was a way to get him. Maybe I'm thinking of Harmonix Messiah. But anyway, if you get a grade 3 early, then this guy becomes live, which I don't think that happens in this deck. I think I'm thinking of Harmonix Messiah. But anyway, really good because it helps you keep soul for Chatura's effect. Jaggy Shot Dragoon also does that. So yeah. Next, this card was also not in here originally, but I did put it in Rising Phoenix, because when you Soul Blast, if he's your turn 1 ride, you ride into him, you Soul Blast him to the drop zone, then he's sitting in the drop zone. Or you can also guard early if you need to. If you're getting rushed and you don't have like a lot of zeros or something, you can just guard with him, and then you can just get him back from the drop zone. So really good defensive card for that reason. They did print a new defensive card in the form of Dragon Dancer Anastasia. She used to be the Unflip PG. But I wanted to run more of her originally, but there's a couple things I didn't like about her. One was she had a 7k attack. I didn't really understand why they did that to this card, because the effect is still, her effects are still kind of slow. You do have the ability to use her Soul Blast 1 and Superior Intercept from the back row. Not Superior Intercept, just Intercept from the back row. Essentially, that's what she does. You move her to the Guardian Circle. It's not really intercepting, but you have that ability. But I just don't understand why it's 8k. It doesn't get any power. It just gets shield if you have 3 or more binds. So that's kind of mid-late game effect. So if this was 8, I'd definitely be running like 2 or 3 of this. Originally I was running 4 just to play test it, but it kind of disappointed me. So that's why I put Rising Phoenix in, because I feel like Rising Phoenix just was overall better just because it's 8k. But that's the 13 grade 1 lineup. And then the triggers. We're not running front triggers in here because this deck is kind of interesting. You don't really have big columns like on alternate rearguard circles. like gift circles or anything like that. So you don't really need the front triggers. You can definitely run them. You can run Rainbow, or you can run like 6 front, 6 critical. But Narukami's weird. Narukami's like an anti-Accel clan. They're an Accel clan, but I find that they're really good against other Accel clans because of their binding capability. But we run just the standard 8 critical and the 4 draw Sentinels, and then 4 heals. So this was not reprinted in here. So this is a trial deck guy, but like they have a Rainbow set in the team's Dragon's Vanity. So they've got the like Jafar, they have Seibo, so they got the heal, they got this critical, which was the harder one to find until now. And then they have another, you know, the generic 5k shield draw trigger. And they have the grade 1 Sentinel that draws you and draws a card and discards a card when you ride it on turn 1. So you can still build a deck for pretty cheap, honestly. Like if you want to build just out of the box, really the only expensive card in the set is Vanquisher, and I think his price has gone a little bit down recently. I could be wrong, but other than Vanquisher, everything else is surprisingly cheap. This guy doesn't cost that much money to build. Like if you're gonna go the single card route, and then Chatura is also kind of dirt cheap, and you don't really need this. There's a common in the set that works similar to him. You don't need Rising Phoenix. If you're gonna run the Sentinel, you're gonna run the grade 1 Sentinel instead of him. You just substitute him for the Sentinel, and then the deck would still function fine. And of course, you would just have like Rainbow, because you wouldn't have this critical, and you'd have the regular draw. But other than that, the deck is relatively easy to build. It's easier to build than Gauntlet Buster Dragon, for sure, just because the cards are newer. And then we just run the new starter they got, Harbinger Dracokid. So, hope you guys enjoyed that deck profile of my Dragonic Vanquisher deck. It's definitely my favorite Narukami deck that I have in a while, because I never actually had a proper one until now. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked the video, please like the video. It helps me out. It helps me feel more motivated to keep making more of these videos. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks.